Gang hang. On time even. Unbelievable. Look at us. We're organized. It's Saturday morning. On Saturday mornings, myself, Matt Baum, and this guy. What's your name?
I'm the Internet's Joe Patrick. Everybody knows me.
We sit down with the listeners and we gang hang, where we just kind of free flow conversation, talk about whatever. There's all kinds of stuff to talk about. We've got very musical episodes of Agatha hit. We've got the finale of Rings of Power, which, guess what? The worst kept secret on TV. We guessed it. It's Gandalf. So thanks, guys. DC just ended Absolute Power, and we're all in now. We're officially in the all-in DC universe. There's all manner of stuff to get into. But first, before we do that, it's fall. And it's spooky season. We're talking about monster hunters in our question of the week. I would love to talk about spooky comics.
Or fighters.
Monster hunters or fighters.
Important
Agreed.
Distinction.
There's a difference.
Bloodstone.
Right.
The Bloodstone family. Monster hunters.
Yes.
Ultraman. Monster fighter.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you know. So I would love to hear about spooky comics, monsters you like to read about, stuff like that, whatever. It's also fall TV season, all kinds of new stuff. I told Jim he could lead us off with a little news about the fall anime lineup. What do we got, Jim? What do we got?
Guy is so excited. You should see him over in the anime channel.
Yeah. What do we got,
Oh my
Jim?
God, we're living large.
Better yet, you are our tastemaker. What are we tuning into? Like, if you're going to give Joe Patrick one of these, you know I'm an easy mark, but let's say you're going for Joe Patrick.
Well, now hold on. I don't want him to limit himself because he knows that I'm weird.
No. Just best of the best.
Just recommend something.
Yeah, best of the best.
All right, the best of the best is going to be Dan to Dan. It's going to be wild. Basically, a guy who believes in UFOs meets a girl who believes in ghosts, and they don't believe in each other's things, and so they go.
That is so great.
Yeah,
it's very X-Files. Go to a location where UFOs and the ghosts are supposed to be, and insanity ensues. It's a crazy anime,
and it's literally called
like the X-Files if they were both Mulder and Scully at the same time, but they were flipped.
Yeah,
kind of.
They were the opposite of the
yeah. Like Mulder's like, we got to go get the Skinwalker, and Scully's like, what are you talking about? Skinwalker doesn't exist. We got to take care of these goddamn aliens.
You know? Well, yeah, I mean Mulder obviously would be the aliens.
Yeah. I think Dan is going to be on Netflix and Crunchyroll. It's going to be on a lot.
Okay, and
the author is a former assistant of Chainsaw Man as well. So
and that is literally spelled Dan, like Dan.
Is it okay if I pronounce it Dan?
Oh, Dan
instead of
Dan.
Like Dan, like damn da bears.
Dan diggy. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, like the kid right there.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, absolutely not.
What else we got?
Yeah, let's see. Blue Lock season 2. If you guys like sports,
I do love Blue Lock. I did not expect to love it.
Coming out today, so it's a wild time.
Didn't expect to love sports anime, and here I am. I don't know. I watched Slam Dunk.
And then
loved it.
Oh yes, well,
loved it.
Slam Dunk has a promotional with the NBA. Now. I posted in the channel. That is absolutely wild.
Is there any news on the Prince of Tennis? Any movement on the Prince of Tennis?
I don't believe so.
No movement on the Prince of Tennis.
I don't think so.
Damn it.
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
It's the only sports anime. It's the only sports anime or manga that I follow.
It's a classic.
Yeah,
it's a classic.
And then the last thing, just Kaizen ended last week. It did cross 100 million sales.
Whoa! So is that all?
That's it. So,
woo!
Well time.
That's sort of like that feels like the benchmark for a show that like you did it. You've put out enough shows, and now you're allowed to be syndicated.
Yeah.
And so your show will air at some point during the day,
24 hours
every
a
day.
Yeah.
For the end until the end of time.
Or once you earn like a Tubi 24/7 channel where they're like 24/7 Star Trek, and it's just like random whatever.
Like TBS airs Friends, no shit, probably 12 hours out of 24.
Oh yeah. And then
I'm not exaggerating.
No,
that is
every
fact.
Weekend they leave the office and just turn on Star Wars and let it go. As far as I can tell, they're like, Star Wars weekend. We just play them back to back, and no one's manning the ship.
Sometimes it's Shawshank, but they mix it up.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's true.
Well,
congratulations to Dan and
Dan.
Yeah, I know it, Matt. I know. These are the jokes.
I'm trying to help you.
But I know it's pronounced Dan.
I'm trying to help you sound cool in front of the cool kids. All right.
Yeah, nothing cooler than correctly pronouncing the name of your favorite anime. No offense to Jim.
What?
No offense to Jim.
Says the
I'm
dude
saying-
that hosts a podcast about comic books. mind you.
Whoa, hey, buddy, make no mistake. I've seen Dark Crystal. That's why I'm allowed to have an opinion
No,
about it.
we're not getting into this. And no, you're not, because you're wrong. And we're not getting into this. We're not doing this. No. I will drive over there. It was hard enough to be your friend after that.
All right, before we move on, I just want to say I successfully completed week 2 at the new job, and we managed to put out a show. It only took us 2 weeks to put out one show, but hey, we did it. I'm hoping for better for next week.
We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna manage our time.
As I settle into a groove.
Yeah.
Matt's all about time management.
Time management.
Says the guy that cancels the show with 30 minutes notice because there's a football game on.
That's
Whatever.
the gang hang. The gang hang barely counts. I love you guys. Don't get me wrong, but it barely counts.
Yeah, sure. Creepy.
All right, back to business.
Todd says Creepy Nuts was his nickname in college.
Let's get back to business. Spooky season. Spooky comics. What are we reading? What do we get into? Last night I watched The Relic, which was 2017 Netflix horror flick, British. God damn, it was good.
There was a 90s horror movie called The Relic as well.
Oh, pardon me.
So not
The Relic.
thing.
I apologize. The Ritual. The Ritual.
Oh, The
not
Ritual.
The Relic. Excellent. Really creepy and really fun, and it got me into full on like, oh man, I need some Lovecraftian spooky stuff. Because there's like a really creepy Lovecraftian like Shub-Niggurath level monster running around in that movie. Whoa, it's so scary. Loved it. But I need some monster comics now.
I'm very excited to watch the Salem's Lot remake, but I heard it's not very good.
I heard it's terrible.
Well, I'd settle for it being not very good. I don't want it to be terrible.
Heard it's terrible. Speaking of terrible, the Joker premiered this week, and it's got terrible reviews. So it's sort of like, what were they thinking? I don't know. I admit I defended it a lot because I really liked that first film. It was incredible, but it sounds like this
got
one
a 32% tomato meter rating.
You know what it sounds? It sounds like Todd Phillips regretted making that very first one.
You know, that's what I heard. Oof, Salem's Lot's at 48%. That's not good.
No, it's not good.
Not that the tomato meter is the be all and end all, but
no,
it's just a good like little quick like, oh, let's see what people are thinking.
Yeah.
Continue on with the musical theme, though. I think the one positive shining thing to come out of that Joker movie is Lady Gaga dropped a new album that's actually really good, and it's themed on the movie. It's called Harlequin.
Oh,
but it's all American songbook jazz standards.
Oh yeah, she's been doing this
with kind of a David Lynch twist.
Yeah, they're creepy, right? It's like creepy jazz standards.
Yeah,
that sounds weird,
fun.
but I'm into it.
It's really cool, and it sounds less like a album that she recorded for the movie, and more like an album she recorded like in memoriam of Tony Bennett.
Yeah,
because they were super close.
They were super buddies. Yeah,
they were. So back to what Damon was saying, it feels like Todd Phillips is so ashamed of what he kind of inspired unintentionally, you know, in the wrong audience. You know what I mean?
Right.
We live in a society, people.
Yeah.
Like
we live in a
feels
society.
Like he was so ashamed of that he did everything he could to make a movie that they would hate, and he ended up making a movie that everybody hates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you know, I guess good job. If that was your goal, then mission accomplished.
Yeah, it was like, was that the was that the pitch in the writers' room? Like they came in there.
But I heard like
we gotta fuck this up, you guys.
It's not even really a musical because the songs are sung by like fucking mumblers in the background. You know, and like you've got Lady Gaga in your movie, you don't give her a big grand musical number. Like I've heard all of these like very dumb mistakes. It seems like.
And I was spoiling the ending as well too.
Do it, spoil it.
Yeah.
None of us care what happens.
Spoil it.
Wait,
okay.
Hold on.
Spoil
if
it.
anybody cares about the ending of Joker 2, now is your chance to throw your phone in the toilet.
I feel like the chanting of "spoil it" does that same job.
Okay, so this is corroborated. Unfortunately, I also got this as a confirmation. Somebody actually watched this movie. It was a friend of mine.
Okay.
So what ends up happening in the end? So there's also just as a disclaimer. So all the movie is basically more or less in Arthur Fleck's head.
Right.
That's pretty much what the
guessed that. Yeah.
All of this is like dream sequences. All the musical numbers are just whatever's going through his head. In the end, he's basically going to be found guilty. Randomly, a bomb goes off, like kills everyone. Well, not everyone.
I mean, that happens in the trailer, right? In the courtroom.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Oh, well, the bomb doesn't. But that's how it ends. There's more to it than that. The bomb blows up. Arthur gets away. He's trying to find Harley. Harley is no longer in love with him because he basically admitted, and this is where a lot of people are pissed off. Oh, the Joker wasn't real. It really was just me all along. And Harley's like, well, I don't love you because you're not the Joker. And then she tries to find her. And then she basically rejects him.
Yeah, it was all in his head. Oh. Of course, it was all in his head.
Yeah, exactly. So then he's all dejected. He basically turns himself in, ends up in Arkham. And then this is where the real money shot is at the end. So he's talking to some random person he's sharing a cell with. And he's like, oh, can I tell you a joke? This is the random guy. So yeah, go ahead. So gives him a joke, blah, blah, blah. And then he's just like, oh, yeah, but basically the punchline is that you were never worthy. And then he stabs him a whole bunch of times. And then Arthur Fleck is dying while laughing because, that's his thing.
Sure.
And then the guy in the back does... This is where the cringe... Some people are very cringed out about this. He does the whole Glasgow smile thing in the background. You don't see this guy's face, but you just see him just putting on like the carved smile, like Heath Ledger style.
Like he is the real Joker.
Or something along those lines. Or everyone is Joker, whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is Arthur Fleck is dead at the end of the movie. And there's a random dude who may or may not take over the mantle.
Fair enough.
It's funny because as you were telling that story and you were like, you said, the guy said, let me tell you a joke. In my mind, without even thinking twice, I went, oh, obviously it's the Joker. And then as the story progresses, I'm like, oh, wait, this movie is already about the Joker. That's how little I consider. That's how little I associate the actual Joker with what happens to this character and these movies. And so I disassociated. I was like, oh, he met the Joker. It's like, oh no, he is the Joker.
Yeah, there you go.
So stupid.
And some people are like saying to the point where because they blurred his face is like, oh man, are they actually? And I don't know if we have an answer to that, yes or no. But they're saying, oh my god, are they actually saying this is Heath Ledger's origin story? Like,
no, you can't do that. You can't. I mean, the timeline.
I mean, doesn't it still take place like in the early 80s?
Yeah, like late 70s, early 80s.
No.
Yeah, Heath Ledger's Joker is not born. Or Heath Ledger's Joker is 2 years old, maybe.
Yeah, correct. At this point, correct.
Yeah, no.
I'm as much as I don't like to revel in other people's misfortune, I am glad that Joker 2 is not resonating with people because
we don't need more.
We don't need more. I didn't care much for the first one. I think people taking the wrong lessons from it is not the filmmaker's fault.
No.
But I also don't think that it was especially good or, I don't know. I have my own opinions about it. But I certainly didn't need more, and making more just fuels the fire.
Sure.
And then making more only to reveal, haha, the joke's on you, fuckos.
Well, if it's one thing, it's going to be as excellent and win awards like the first one, and obviously your opinion doesn't count, so you don't like the Dark Crystal. But if it was going to be good, that's one thing. But they put out a train wreck, and Todd Phillips is a very intelligent director who knows what he's doing. So you have to wonder,
what were you doing? You have to consider. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just really quick. Todd Phillips did not want to make the sequel. He probably did everything he could.
What did they chain him to a chair? Like what?
because WB, they want money. They're like, oh, it did so well.
I get that, but call in sick that day, Todd. Tell him you got diarrhea. That's what I do. No one's gonna call you on that. Just whatever.
the way Damon described the end, it feels very the end of the Wanted comic book to me.
I would argue more the end of Iron Man 3. The end of Iron Man 3, where we the whole time, this is your this is your Mandarin. The Mandarin finally, here he is. It's like, nope, it's not. It's not the Mandarin at all. And maybe there isn't a Mandarin. Maybe there kind of is. Like, whoa, that's crazy. Let's never talk about it again until much later when we hint at
though,
it.
and then they came out and they fixed it. I mean, I liked that though. I actually liked that they
in the moment, it was not
Mandarin.
great. They fixed it later. But
okay, but yeah, but it also made no sense because it was like very Middle Eastern terrorism coded, and the guy's calling himself the Mandarin. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, none of it did.
And we all knew it was Ben Kingsley, so it's like none of those dots connected.
Yeah.
Todd Phillips, a very smart and intelligent director of Old School and Road Trip. And
these are
Due Date.
These are movies that made a bunch of money, and
The Hangover, producer of the Hangover franchise.
They're all movies I like.
The Hangover was one of the highest grossing rated R comedies of all time.
Known for making cerebral movies, is my point.
But okay, the guy knows how to make money, and he's got Oscars under his belt now. So,
but then again, neither was Adam McKay. Adam McKay was like didn't he direct Anchorman?
Yes.
Adam McKay started off in comedies, and the next thing you know, he's making shit like Moneyball.
Yeah. I mean, and everything this dude made had made a shitload of money too. So
don't sleep on people that start with comedies, because I just
no. I know. I'm just saying, like,
USA is bringing back scare tactics, and I'm terrified because Jordan Peele is behind it.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah, but I don't. I think
he saw that as well.
That's how you traumatize people.
Yeah,
that man is scary.
I mean,
Jordan Peele is amazing at horror.
He is, but I have a feeling
he's gifted, to be honest.
But it's like,
I have a feeling he's just gonna be the host. You know,
the real scare all along was institutional racism.
I mean, that's a pretty big scare, to be honest. So.
It is a really big scare, but I don't know if it plays well with the USA crowd. You know what I'm saying?
It's not exactly a jump scare when you're like, you're a racist.
I mean, the one with the doppelgangers. I can't bring myself to watch that one.
It's great.
You know what?
It's great.
Oh, that one was
I don't like Us.
I love him, and I loved Us. I thought it was great, but I will say
I liked Us all the way up until the point they explained it. I was like, this is stupid. This is a really dumb thing.
But they gave him the job as like the host of the new Twilight Zone as well, and was that boring?
That's a good point.
It was boring. That show was not good. It wasn't good.
And every
so excited
attempt to
and so
revitalize the Twilight Zone has ended very abruptly.
Forrest Whitaker was a host at one point.
Yeah, Forrest Whitaker was the host of the Twilight Zone in the early 2000s.
I think so. Yeah,
I remember that.
There was a modernized version in the 80s as well. Oh, there was one of those episodes that traumatized me as a kid.
I feel like all the best Twilight
but I was very
Zone,
young at the time.
Like all of the best Twilight Zone remakes are not called the Twilight Zone. Like
right.
Black Mirror.
Yes.
Or the Outer Limits.
They're all coded in spirit.
Or I would even argue American Horror Story to a certain degree is more of a long-term Twilight Zone because of its anthology format.
Yeah. They're just long-form anthologies. Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right.
No.
All right. Let's get into since we're on a movie tear or a Hollywood tear, and we're talking about scary stuff. Agatha All Along.
Yeah.
We're not going to get too deep into spoilers for the most recent episode, though there's nothing really to spoil in the most recent episode.
I would argue.
Sort of.
I think it'd be hard.
I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
But I just want to shout it from the rooftops. Episode 3 of Agatha All Along confirmed the existence of Mephisto in the MCU, and all of you doubters can suck an egg.
It is true. He's there.
So Shears Amata said the word Mephisto out loud to team.
Yeah, and episode 4 confirms the existence of the Daughters of Liberty.
That's right.
Oh, see, I don't know. I didn't recognize that. I don't know what? The Daughters of Liberty.
Daughters of Liberty from Captain America?
Oh.
Wasn't that? Okay, hold on a second. In the comic, I'm just talking.
Well, I know the Sons of Liberty.
Yeah, I don't know the Daughters of
Liberty with Sharon Carter and Peggy Carter as the Dryad and Misty Knight and God,
so one other thing, I'm trying to remember.
What was that in Captain America?
Yeah, that was in the
Volume 9, Number 7 from 2019.
It's really recent Captain America story.
It was the Ta-Nehisi Coates Captain America.
Yeah, the Tony used to kill
I missed that whole volume.
Yeah, Agatha actually, I think, also, and I don't know if that's what she's alluding to, trained some. I think it was like a whole coven of witches, along in the comics, that is, called also the Daughters of Liberty as well, if I remember. So that there's also
I think we might be dealing with more than one Daughters of Liberty here. I think Damon is right.
That might be a Google rabbit hole to go down.
I'll say, I think in my mind, and this is again a very mild spoiler, and really it's only a spoiler depending on how you look at it. Rio, Aubrey Plaza, says to Agatha, "That boy is not your son."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think you can take that more than one way, because we see that Agatha is like very protective of him all of a sudden, or like has become protective of him.
Right.
And you can take that literally, like, did Agatha really think that he might be her son, like resurrected somehow? Or can you take it metaphorically, like she's using Teen as like a stand-in for her son?
Right. For her
and that's kind of how I took it. And Rio was like, Agatha, he's not your son. You know?
Yeah. Like, you got to cut it. Like, you can't get this close, because you know and I know that's not your son.
But there was another trial, and it was a friggin' fire and brimstone rock opera.
Yes.
It was amazing. It was awesome.
It was something.
Shut up, Matt.
It was something.
It was a different. It was they sang a new version of the Witches Road song, and it was really great.
And it was Alice's mom's version, who apparently is like was a Fleetwood Mac type singer. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like a Stevie Nicks.
Yeah,
or a Grace Slick, one of those kind of.
Yeah.
Not a Grace Slick, more of a Stevie Nicks.
I'm gonna tell you, respectfully, this episode was fucking hot.
Oh yeah, everybody looks.
Everybody in the show look hot as hell.
Yeah.
Especially Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good episode. Probably my favorite of the four.
I like that they're having fun with it. I like that it's wackadoo and there's no rules and we're not afraid to have fun. And yeah, they did say Mephisto. I'll give you that. They better not hit us with Teen as some kind of like magic baby, like the Alkalite or some bullshit. But you know,
well, Teen is going to be a magic baby like Wiccan.
No, but I mean,
I think that's really good money. Yeah, I think there's good money on that, and I agree with that actually.
So to address what happened in the last episode, it does appear that they killed off Mrs. Hart, aka Kitty from that 70s show.
Yeah. Dead, but...
Now I am still not convinced.
I'll bet she comes.
That's it for her.
Yeah.
Because so let's get into the spoiler stuff from the first couple episodes. When Agatha is writing Patti LuPone is like writing the list down.
Right.
Yeah.
Of the types of witches she needs for the coven, and she writes a bunch of names, and then she just draws a black heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was like, oh, this might get more Mephisto-y than you think, Matt. Because Blackheart is a character in Marvel Comics, is the son of Mephisto.
I know, but and unless he shows up and he's all thorns and like thorny dreadlocks, I don't care.
Well, now hold on, you can't put that on him.
I want the Blackheart that Daredevil had to beat up.
Look, I want him to look like that too, but if a character shows up related to Mephisto called Blackheart, then that counts.
I know.
And also, it's the witch coven, so Blackheart might be a woman. And so when they were like, they kept saying over and over, Mrs. Hart, Mrs. Hart. I was like, oh shit, Kitty is Blackheart.
Maybe. I mean, she's more than. I don't think she's dead. I think that's.
But
ridiculous.
then she died.
No, I don't think she's dead.
I have a theory, but go ahead first. Sorry, Brian. They want to cut you off.
So I'm sorry I jumped off for a minute, so I don't know if you covered it, but I got when the first episode happened, I looked up, a bunch of the characters to see who they were, and Rio is in the comics is a man, and he's a green witch. So that's when they were talking about like the Mrs. Hart thing, like Sorry, I'm at kid soccer. They wanted they needed a green witch. Agatha did not want to get Rio, even though Rio was the obvious one, and that's why she found Mrs. Hart. But Rio has something to do with Blackheart. So that's and she said it a couple times in the episode, like,
Okay.
you know, she's like, you don't have a heart. And she's like, I have, you know, I do, but it's black or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
She directly said it.
Yeah.
Because so I know they've said Mephisto, but because of kind of the goofiness of the show, I don't know. I don't think this is like, you didn't watch Agatha, like this is part 22 of the 27 part series. Like, I think this is Easter egg things to tease.
No, you're right.
You know, I don't think it's Billy. I don't think it's any of that stuff. I think it's supposed to tease with Agatha's son, and maybe it is related. And also, I don't trust Rio at all because, you know, when she says it's not your son, you don't know that.
Yeah,
that's true.
Why would you trust her?
She's evil. You know, like, she's a liar. Yeah, she's evil.
Well, so it could just be Agatha's son, and it's not even a swerve. It's just kind of what you expect. And we get to the end, and like, I don't think Wanda's coming back. I don't think this is a load-bearing show. I think it's just them having fun, which is fine. But I think putting the weight of everything on everything is really tough all the time.
Yes.
And I don't think
for sure. And I think that like if this does end up being a show that's just enjoyable and fun, like She-Hulk, and doesn't really have any lasting impact, then I'm fine with that as well.
Yeah, I think it's a pleasant show. You know, my issue with the musical performance episode is that no one apparently knows how to play their instruments, and that drives me insane. But like,
with you, Brian, 100%.
There was no on-set like consultant to be like, no, you're.
I mean, guys, spend an hour. You're playing one song.
That was full on Happy Days shit. That was like full on like like just get up and
it's Full House DJ's band.
Totally.
You know, it was like Frankie Valli. Have you seen the memes of Frankie Valli? 90-year-old Frankie Valli supposedly performing. And it looks like
the greatest videos of all time. He's living.
It looks like the Showbiz Pizza Rockafire explosion animatronic.
Yeah. Only the batteries on the remote would have died. The guy's going, no, go left, left, and you just
like somebody is Weekend at Bernie'sing Frankie Valli on stage.
God, it's bad. Well, hold on, Damon. Let Damon got interrupted. What was your thought?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no! All I was gonna say was, as far as Rio goes, I don't disagree with Brian. There's probably a higher than good chance that this is all going to be revealed to be a very personal Agatha story. Because I was saying that
I think so too.
It could be revealed like they take elements of the Billy Kaplan thing. Basically, well, it's not really Nicholas Scratch, but this is soul reborn in this completely different, kid, essentially.
Maybe.
So it's not really your kid, but it kind of is your kid.
Right.
Yeah. But what I was going to say about Rio is there is something about beside the black heart, and I've been seeing this is on Screen Crush, but this is also kind of making the rounds, and I was thinking about this too, just on the dialogue. There is a high chance that Rio very well might be the MCU's death.
I saw something.
I just posted an article about that.
Yep.
Like exactly. Thanos' girlfriend? Like that death? Dialogue. Like hot death with the skull face and boobs for some reason? That death?
Yeah. Specifically in this episode.
Okay, yeah.
In this episode where Billy gets hurt. Or Teen gets hurt. And Agatha is like, oh no, please no, please no, please don't. And then she looks directly at Rio and says, please don't. As though Rio can somehow control whether or not Teen lives or dies.
Yeah.
It's a direct moment. Like
I don't disagree. I don't disagree that happened. I don't disagree. But why? What does the personification of death? Why would they be limited? Why would they have problems? And why are they doing this? Like she's limited by
we don't know that she's limited or that she's
just faking all this.
All we know is that Rio is just along for the ride and messing with them the whole time.
I guess. Right. I suppose she could be orchestrating the entire thing, but like,
true.
That doesn't sound like death to me. Like, as far as like, that sounds like someone who's a magic user or someone that's involved or working for a magic user that is forcing things. Like death doesn't do shit like that.
It sounds more like Loki than death.
Yeah, that sounds like Loki.
This is kind of where my theory is going now. It's a very common like part of witchcraft lore, like the idea that witches cavort with Satan, right? Like physically, like.
Well, he's their only boo. Yeah.
And And so if there is some sort of reveal, like we know that Rio and Agatha have some sort of relationship beyond this antagonistic stuff we're seeing most of the time.
Sure.
There's some sort of
they fuck.
sexy tension. Yeah.
They were exes. No
And
doubt. Buddies, whatever.
like I wouldn't be surprised if Rio is like literally Blackheart.
Yeah.
And Agatha like consorted with a demon, and that's
and you know something that could have also led to how she got the Darkhold in the first place.
Maybe.
And that leads me to my next theory, which is I have another theory as to who the teen might be if it's not Billy.
okay.
And this actually comes straight out of Bloodlust, or out of Blood Hunt. Yeah, it comes straight out of Blood Hunt, specifically Blood Hunt Strange Academy. I think the teen might be the Darkhold.
Oh yeah, because there is a kid walking around that is the Darkhold.
There's the kid that is the embodiment.
That literally is. Yes, I don't think that's a bad theory at all. And I'm going to step back from the Rio thing real quick. I don't think she is Blackheart, but I do think she's either working for or in love with Blackheart and being controlled by this Blackheart character. And I think that is the closest we might get to a Mephisto, this Blackheart demon thing. Because you can say that without being like, it's the devil. It's Blackheart.
I mean, look, all you have to say is that Blackheart is the spawn of Satan.
Sure.
Is the spawn of Mephisto. Like, I have no expectations that we'll actually see Mephisto in his red caped glory on the show. No,
it's not going to happen.
That might be a bridge too far for an 8 episode.
But if they do, it better be Crispin Glover. I think he'd be perfect.
So this article, right? JD, this article is behind like an ad block, like make you disable your ad block thing. What's the gist of that article?
Joe Patrick, let me teach you something real quick. Click on your reader view and that will go away. Brave powers.
I don't know how to do that. What? Oh, brave. Yeah, brave. All right.
Not that we do anything like that and defeat ad blockers. But.
Basically, just that they talk about the Blackheart thing, and they just say that she is that they think she's black, that she's death. Let's see, it says here.
Oh, they think she's death.
Yeah, that would be the true identity of Avery Plaza's Rio Vidal, a Green Witch, or rather the Green Witch, as she says. Ex-lover. Running theory now seems to be panning out that Rio Vidal is Death, as in the actual character Death, or Lady Death from Marvel Comics, who at one point had a significant storyline as a love interest of Thanos himself.
I don't believe
that. Is probably not how things are going to play out here, luckily for Agatha. We can start with an old clue. Her name, Rio Vidal, translates to some approximation of River of Life, a river being a key part of the underworld, and a phrase, River of Life, often being referred to as the blood running through our veins. But this week, her claim to be the Green Witch, a magic based on Earth, indicates that some sort of primordial power. There's another character called Gaia in Marvel, elder god of healing, which has been another Rio theory that seems much less likely in context. She literally emerges from the grave of Mrs. Hart. Don't get more deathy than that.
Yeah, I mean, like I think they're connected in a lot of this. This strikes me as like the Lost. You know, when people were watching that show and connecting all the dots, and the writers were like,
"This is a good one, though." She and Agatha let the other witches overhear her talking about getting witches killed, so that she "quote unquote" gets the bodies.
The bodies, yeah.
But what does Death want bodies for?
Not literal bodies, but like a body count. You know,
souls. Collect their souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I said. Agatha gives a subtle don't for her to take Teen as he's seemingly on the brink of death.
I will give you that is the biggest thing that maybe supports that theory.
Rio says she hurt someone she loved by quote unquote doing her job, which might imply that Rio, not killed, but acted as Death for Nicholas Scratch, Agatha's son.
I mean, it honestly could be an MCU type. It could be an MC, like what they do in the MCU a lot of times, which they mash characters together. So, because
for sure.
The MCU does not have that relationship with that cosmic entity of Death. We could have a more supernatural entity of Death which is going to be more akin to Blackheart or related to Mephisto.
Fine, but I still
Yeah,
want Thanos to like want her bod really bad. You know?
Yeah, it would be like I want to see Thanos
Yeah.
like
Thanos
watching,
sliding into
Thanos
her
is
DMs and
watching
stuff.
Agatha all along in
Yeah.
his PJs.
There you go.
Yeah.
On
Yep,
his starship,
exactly.
and he's like,
He's
gotta
sliding
get
into
me
her
some-
DMs like, "What's up, bro? You up? You up, girl?"
Hey,
Can I just
hey, babe.
yeah.
Hey, baby.
can I just be a little
Sorry,
gross for a
you
second
up?
and just say,
Just
who
left the
doesn't
gym.
want Aubrey Platt?
Well, I mean, you know,
Man, woman,
respectfully.
and everything else. It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, that's the only thing that throws me about the is that Death being an agent of chaos. Like Death is
No, Death's
why would Death be wacky and like try
This
to
is
like
more
I don't know.
regimented than that. Yeah.
Death is a
Death
cosmic
seems
entity.
like it would be
right?
calculating,
Yeah.
cold, clinical. Yeah.
Death is a cosmic entity, like Thanos was like, "Look what I did for you," and Death was like, "Get the hell out of here," you know, like whatever.
Thanos,
Well, I don't think it's
Thanos-
going to be that Death, though. I think it's going to be more of a Grim Reaper supernatural.
Yeah, no,
style Death.
I agree.
More
Yeah,
along
like
the lines
an agent
a
of Death.
Blackheart. Yeah.
like maybe an agent of Death, right?
If you
Right.
want to do that, like they're working for Death or something, fine, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
but don't
right.
make her
So-
Death.
Here's where the mashup comes in. Blackheart.
Right.
She can be called Blackheart, agent of Death, you know, or whatever.
Or
And-
she's dating Blackheart, who is said like, "Go do this
Or-
stuff for me," and it's not Death at all.
Blackheart, daughter of Mephisto, and her job was to take Nicholas Scratch's soul
Right.
because,
That's
as
possible.
was already stated in the show, Agatha traded her son for power.
Yeah.
That's what I think is being implied, is that that's exactly what happened and how she got the Dark. It's tied together.
Yeah,
guys,
whatever
I think
happened
we
to her
did it.
son.
I think you're right.
I think we did it.
I think we just did it.
and I will say, because also
Be
I'm
strong.
thinking of when Rio gives the story, you know, tells her story of her scar. You know, one way we could explain for Death acting out of character or being a bit irrational and not a logistical power is that she may be a lover scorned. You know, and we come back to that whole idea of Death falling in love with a person.
Well,
a
that's
witch.
true. You know, so
Deadpool.
that is true. Like I'm trying to think back to the comics. If there's a lot of the stuff we read is Thanos just like having one-sided conversations with Death as though she's actually paying attention to
yeah,
him.
she doesn't talk to him.
Like Death did not ask Thanos to kill 50% of the people
No,
in the
no.
Marvel universe.
And Death didn't
Thanos
give
was
a
like,
shit about it.
Oh yeah? Well, if that's not good enough for you, then how about this? Snap.
Yeah.
And that's how Infinity Gauntlet starts. He's trying to impress a girl. And but I think that in more modern comics, when they've done a little bit more personification of Death, we may have seen her like getting all bent out of shape with Thanos because he did her dirty or whatever, like
Yeah.
a lover's
Well,
scorn.
don't
Like
forget,
you
no,
said,
you know, actually, like her characterizations, this is ironic. If you look at how she interacts with Deadpool, she actually does have affection for.
Okay, well,
It's
hold on.
Yeah.
super
Hold on.
Well,
wacky.
Time out. Deadpool is a unreliable narrator, and we do
No,
not
it's
know.
true. But
Like,
you are right, Damon. There are several comics
there are.
from the Joe Kelly era
But what I'm saying
where
is that may
he
be a
and Dead.
that may
but
be a
is it
cartoon in his head.
Is it in his
what I'm
mind? Is the
saying.
thing.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's the same. I think that is seriously like a cartoon playing in his head.
So Mosaic Fan Art is filling us in on the latest happenings with Death in the Marvel Universe. Death has now become an Infinity Stone,
Well, Death is Agent
And-
Coulson.
About that,
and and she or it has chosen Agent Coulson as its avatar.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
This was happening in the annuals from this summer that are following up on like that Infinity Watch stuff where all of the Infinity Stones assumed human form.
And Mosaic Fan Art,
still-
thank you for your
They're
service.
still going with that, but they're not doing it in the main books at all.
No,
It's all in
no.
the annuals, and so nobody cares.
Yes,
and
nobody
nobody's
read it.
paying attention except for, thankfully, our friend Todd here.
That's what I want to say. Thank you for your service, sir. Somebody had to read this.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying it's like, Marvel, you're doing this big thing. Why aren't they in the goddamn books? Oh, okay. New Infinity Watch comic coming out this December.
But I
There you
think
have
the
it.
one that's coming out this, okay, and don't quote me, but I think it's part of that, like, here's another story from plucked randomly out of Marvel continuity, told by some people that worked on the Infinity Watch. You know, like we've been reading where like they did the Silver Surfer one, and they did. Like,
oh, do you mean like a Warlock in the Infinity Watch flashback comic?
Yes, I think it's something like that.
No, I think that he's right, and that it is a comic book about these characters that are embodied Infinity Stones.
Wow. I think I care about as much as that.
They're just reusing the name. They're reusing the brand. They got to renew that trademark somehow.
Yeah, I care about as much as that as I do this new Sentinels.
Yeah, it's the new characters.
This new Sentinels book. I think it's this week. Is Sentinels this week? The new Marvel.
Yes, yeah. Sentinels is this coming week. Yes.
The previews are not doing this book any favors. I don't know, man. It's just,
apparently they're good. Apparently they're good guys. They're like using Sentinel tech to protect mutants.
They're working for the X-Men, so I don't know.
I guess I had it in my mind. You know, after Decimation, like during Decimation and after House of M, they did this thing where they invented the ONE. Yeah, they invented a new Marvel acronym, the Office of National Emergency, the ONE. And so Department 1, they were like, we're taking Sentinel, we're like co-opting Sentinel technology for the good of the people. It's no longer going to be used to hunt down mutants. It's going to be used to safeguard the few mutants that are left because they are now an endangered species.
Was this when Cullen Bunn was writing X-Men for a little bit, and like there was a character?
This was way before. This was like right after House of M.
Okay.
So this is like early 2000s when it was like, you know, the 198. Like there were only like 200 mutants left.
Gotcha.
And so they rebranded the Sentinels. So instead of being like brown and purple, they were like purple and purple. Like they looked more good guy coded. It was like light purple and purple. They looked more regal.
Yeah.
And they like parked one outside of the X Mansion, and the X-Men were like, thanks, but we don't know about this. We're not so sure about this, guys. Yeah. And so that's kind of what this reminds me of. Even the color scheme's kind of the same, that kind of lighter blue and paler purple. That's kind of what they looked like.
Well, and there was a character in the Cullen Bunn X-Men run that like had a Sentinel that he controlled, and like it hung out with the X-Men. And I can't remember.
Oh, but was that the young guy?
No,
the young kid?
Not that
from
character.
Avengers Academy, or from
not that character. No, Sentinel. He was not that character.
Avengers Arena.
Because he dies in Avengers Arena, I believe, if I recall correctly. This was a mutant, and he controlled the Sentinel. He wasn't just like a genius kid. But you know, it's the Cullen Bunn X-Men, so yeah.
I don't know, dude. I didn't read it.
Yeah.
What made the kid Sentinel that much more unbelievable is because it started out as a tsunami book, which was aimed at all ages. And he was just some kid who found a broken Sentinel in his backyard.
Well, they were just doing Iron Giant. That's all they were doing.
Yeah, I know. But it's like he's not even a genius. He's just some dumb kid who somehow lucked his way into reactivating a Sentinel and managed to turn it into not a murder bot.
Right.
Yeah. Sentinel X was originally under the command of the Indian Mutant Defense Force. Lakshay Singh ordered for the Sentinel to be deployed after Jean Grey and her allies raided the IMDF's headquarters. Trinary.
Oh boy, Trinary.
Yeah, there was X-Men Red.
Trinary.
Sean McKeever wrote that Sentinel book. But they did use him to good effect in Jerry Duggan or Dennis Hopeless. I think it was Dennis Hopeless. Avengers Arena by Dennis Hopeless and Kev Walker.
Yeah,
that book is good.
Trinary. Who the hell was Trinary? I don't even remember. This guy.
42 appearances of Trinary, all in X-Men Red, and I haven't read a single one of them, so I couldn't tell you.
She was from India. She was technopathic, so she could like make machines do stuff.
Like, look, I like a good technopath. Yeah. Whiz Kid,
sure,
he's a technopath.
Sure, yeah.
You know,
Box, he's a technopath. So there you go.
Box, yeah. Not Forge. Forge is an inventor.
No,
Forge is a creator.
Yeah, not Forge. Forge's mutant abilities don't make any sense.
He's a maker.
He's a maker, right? But he doesn't control technology.
No.
He just like has genius inspiration to create technology.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like Pyro. Pyro controls fire, but he doesn't generate fire. So he's not Pyro.
He's got to carry a lighter around.
he's pyrokinetic in the most true sense. He
Right.
can only move it around.
Yeah. He's got to carry a lighter, just like in the movies.
He's got to carry a lighter, or strap two huge jugs of propane to his back, which is super smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way the
boom, baby.
no way the Juggernaut accidentally bumps into you and you fall down and boom.
I'd be willing to bet that Pyro has the highest instance of resurrection on Krakoa for any character not an actual X-Man.
Oh yeah, somebody counted it and they said he died like at least 12 times.
I just like in the back of my mind, I'm like, Beast is like, fuck, not this.
It's not
again.
true. Somebody else?
Quentin Quire.
No, actually,
yeah.
Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler in the first, like when they have him invading the base
contextually
and dying again and again and again and again.
It is canonically listed in X-Force that no mutant on Krakoa has died more than Quentin Quire.
That you're right. I remember reading that.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying that Nightcrawler, like a lot of them have died a lot, but
Yeah.
Quentin Quire, we're talking like in the dozens, I think.
I mean,
Like they actually,
watched Nightcrawler die at least.
It actually comes up in context and in dialogue because at a certain point, Quentin Quire is purposely signing up for suicide missions, partially because he keeps tweaking the resurrection protocols to change his body.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He makes his hair actually pink. He takes away his need for glasses. All that stuff.
Yeah, he started figuring out like I can change.
But then he just does the psychic energy glasses because they're cool.
Yeah, which for some reason, just out of sheer vanity, it's weird. But yeah,
so why not fix your eyes? Why not just fix your damn eyes?
And in Wolverine.
Yeah. All right, so here's a fun thing we can address. Thank you, Todd, for putting it in the chat. So there is a new special coming out called X-Men What Xavier Did, or something like that, I believe it's called. The story is called What Charlie Did, but I don't think that's the name of the comic. I think it's like what Xavier Did or something. And it's a one shot by Alex Packnadel and Diogenes Neves.
It's called What Charlie Did. You're not wrong.
Yeah. And it is a collection of an Infinity comic, so which I guess is strike one, but it's an Infinity. It's an Infinity comic done by like actual like seasoned professionals.
We like Packnadel.
Kind of like the Hickman one was.
Alex Packnadel is great.
Yeah, and like Diogenes Neves, whatever. And basically, it's been running for a while now, and none of us have been talking about it because we don't read them. But it's the story of like what Charles did in the fallout of Krakoa. X-Men Xavier's Secret, thank you, Todd, is the name of the actual comic title. It's the story of what Xavier did in the wake of Krakoa, like in between the fall of Krakoa, the end of Krakoa and the beginning of From the Ashes, and how it put the X-Men where they are now and why he's in prison. And all this stuff. And I think it's interesting. And it's coming out in print in December, I think. And so should be interesting.
I'll read the Infinity comic.
We can read the Infinity comic now. So
yeah. But I just know you guys don't like to, and I'll take the hit.
I mean, I can read it too. I'll read it with you, JD. I just I didn't know it even I didn't know it was a thing.
I'll be honest, I've said this before, but the Infinity comics read so much better on a phone than they do on a computer or tablet.
Yeah, because I think they're intended for phones, to be honest.
Yeah, they're kind of framed for that.
Like that DC, I don't think it was Webtoon, but DC did something similar with like Batman Family Adventures, where it was specifically built for the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And, it is what it is. Oh yeah, Magneto's back in a wheelchair, and it's going to tell us why Magneto's back in a wheelchair.
These are all things.
Is he in a wheelchair there, or is he just strapped down to a chair in his cell?
He's sitting in a floating chair, but we haven't seen him like.
No, that's Magneto.
Yeah,
Magneto is in a floating chair in X-Men.
Oh, you're saying
Chuck. But we don't know why.
No, we don't know why. We don't know why. He's just floating around in a chair.
I'm still trying to figure out why all the From the Ashes actual comics on Marvel Unlimited are coming out of order. Because,
Out of order, yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
It's like somebody
we've still
leaked
only
them or something,
gotten
like somebody-
just the Uncanny book. That's the only book we've gotten in. On
You should have
Unlimited.
at least gotten like probably NYX #1 or something. I don't know. That's weird.
No.
But you know what? Then again, I feel like X-Men is coming out at a faster clip, maybe because #6 is going to come out, and we've only seen 3 issues of NYX.
And we've only seen like
It's,
2 of Uncanny, right?
2 or 3 Uncannies.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that X-Men was the
3
first
Uncanny.
one, but
3 Uncanny. That's
I feel like it might be coming out at a little bit of a faster.
I mean, it was the first one, and I think it was 2 months before we saw Uncanny, so that might make sense.
Well, that makes sense, but
Yeah.
but X-Men would have come out 1 week, and then like NYX or whatever would have come out the very next
Right.
week.
But
So
there's-
why wouldn't that book be at least almost as far along?
as to why they're not releasing them on Unlimited, who knows? Like they put some stuff day and day.
well, or out of order.
Yeah.
That makes 0 sense.
No, it's not helpful.
Yeah, because
Not helpful, Marvel.
I'd like for you to read them, JD, because I think you'll really like Exceptional X-Men. I really enjoyed it.
I'm looking forward to Exceptional X-Men. I'm also
And
really
you know what?
digging-
The Phoenix book.
I loved Uncanny.
The Phoenix book
The
is
Phoenix
fun.
book is good.
Phoenix book is fun.
You know, I know that not everybody loves Jean Grey, and I get that, but the Phoenix book is very good. Stephanie Phillips is a great writer.
She's great, and the art is
So-
incredible. It is very
The art
disconnected.
is incredible, yeah.
It's extremely disconnected, but that's fine. This is your X-Men.
I mean,
space
she's in
adventure.
deep space. It's
Yeah.
it's basically a cosmic Marvel book.
Yeah, and the star. I mean, look,
Like she hangs out with Nova sometimes. like
Corsair's
Starjammer's
there.
Yeah.
I friggin' love Corsair. It's great.
Well, what's not to love about Corsair?
I mean,
Other than the fact that he's a
awesome.
deadbeat.
well,
dad.
he's a bad dad. I was gonna say he's a really bad.
He's
dad.
a bad dad. I mean, look, the second he found out his kids were alive, he should have stayed on Earth and not left again.
Well,
but
sure.
no.
Now, to be fair, he's not even in
He
like.
was living that pirate life.
He's probably not even in Marvel's top 10 bad dads list. So, like, you know,
That is also
Actually,
fair.
there's
That
a
is also
bunch of
fair.
bad dads.
Speaking of recent X-Men books I just read, I just read a book that brings up an era of X-Men that we really don't care for that I thought was written really well, and I liked the X-Men Blood Hunt Jubilee #1, the Blood Hunt tie-in with Jubilee.
You know, I actually don't think I read that one.
because it had Jubilee.
It
in
was really good. It was so good. It was.
I have
really,
nothing
really
against.
cool.
I like Jubilee, so I
Yeah.
should read it. I just I got in the weeds, so I stuck to the Blood Hunt main series.
I'm not saying
so.
it can't be good. I'm just saying that's not a way to get me to scramble to pick your book up.
But it was a one shot, right? It was one of the one shots, like
Yeah, it
Laura
was just a one shot.
and,
X-Men Blood Hunt
and
Jubilee
Ilyana
#1,
and Jubilee.
and that's it.
They all got one shots.
Did it
Yeah, and then
address her
there's-
vampire bullshit? Did like they finally address all this?
Yeah.
Okay.
You meet the group that taught her to not be a vampire.
So she is still
And,
a vampire? Like,
Is she still technically a vampire?
She's still doing that?
No.
I didn't think so.
They
I
actually
thought Krakoa took care of all that.
They taught her how to not crave
human.
human blood, and then but
they
now
taught
she's
her to
feeling
not be
much
a
better.
vampire when she was a vampire, and it was the
Right.
group, and she still
But
checks in with them, even though she's back to being fully.
Oh, you know what? I
human-flesh
did
mutant.
read that, JD, and it was good.
And
because now
Krakoa
that's sounding
solved all
very
this,
familiar.
right? Krakoa solved all that vampire shit. They reset her.
Well, I would
Yeah.
presumably the second Jubilee, if she wasn't already cured by then, the second Jubilee died for the first time, she would have been reborn.
I
as
would
a
assume so. And they'd be like,
living
hey,
person.
Yeah,
what if we
I
don't
think she
make her a
was actually
vampire?
cured before that, but I don't know.
I think she was feeling much better before Krakoa even started. It's just that none of us
Yeah.
remember.
All
or
those, these are
care
the
to
same assholes that
remember.
were like, oh yeah, let's all the worst bad guys. Yeah, let's get Omega Red. Yeah, bring him back. It's a great idea. you know?
You are so you've got such an axe to grind with Omega Red. Like they didn't have Mr. Sinister in the fucking cabinet of Krakoa.
I agree. He was there in the cab, but Mr. Sinister was not in a place where he had been dead, and they literally brought him back and went, now here's a job. They were like, look, we got to work with you. You're around. You're very powerful. We'd appreciate if you're on our
Amnesty
side.
is either for everybody or it's for nobody.
But then, like guys like Sabretooth and Omega Red, there's never like, let's give them one more chance. Like, really?
That didn't work out very well.
Magneto has. I'm gonna put this out there. Magneto has killed far more people than either one of those guys, and they were cool. They're cool.
That's true.
The only difference is Magneto's not strangling him or clawing him to
Yes.
death with his bare hands.
That is a fair statement. I'll give you that. But I will also say, like Magneto, while he is has definitely killed a lot of people. He has done it.
He's got an ethos, and you can respect that.
He's got an ethos, and he's done it on a mission. It's not just like he showed up and then he ripped Wolverine's kid apart and spelled "Happy fucking birthday" with his guts, or anything. Like
he's not a sadist.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
and Sabretooth did do that, by the way. It was dumb.
We got like, hey guys, great idea. We're gonna form our own country. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's called Germany. It's called New Germany.
Yeah.
It's on an island where we can live and thrive and yada yada. And here are all the perks. And we've got kind of like this ruling body that's sort of like Parliament or the cabinet or whatever.
Actually, I mean,
yes, Joseph Mengele is in the cabinet. Don't
actually compare it to a country. I don't want to get too political, but it's a little bit more like Israel.
I know. I just made the Germany allusion so that I can make the Joseph Mengele joke.
Zionist.
Yes, sure.
I just wanted to make the Joseph Mengele joke, which only works if it's German.
Okay, let's steer out of this. And I don't know if anybody but Joe and I are paying attention, but it's anyone like into this DC All In stuff. We're gonna have our full review this week, but
buddy, I have read many of them, and they're all pretty good.
Yeah,
so far
I'm kind of feeling it. It's. I will say,
Kelly Thompson.
Say what now?
No. Well, yes. Absolute Wonder Woman is the Kelly Thompson book, but it's not the first one out. The first one out will be Absolute Batman.
No, but I'm not talking about Absolute.
All In refers to the jumping on points for all of the regular books.
Right. This is not
all
Absolute.
Of the regular books are going through jumping on points. Some of them have new creative teams. Some of them don't. Like Birds of Prey is continuing under Kelly Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm behind on that book, but I read number 14 anyway, and it was great. It's Cassandra Cain going undercover. It's fantastic.
It's really good.
Very, very good. Shazam, which is continuing under Josie Campbell, who created My Adventures with Superman on HBO.
Oh.
She's been writing it for a while now. I read it, and it's good. It's Dan McDay does the art.
Love Dan McDade. Love him.
The new Batman was great. Like, I can't remember the last time I read a Chip Zdarsky issue of Batman and went, man, that was good. But that one was good. The All In one was good.
I think this is a good excuse for Chip Zdarsky to go, okay, maybe I got in a little over my head, and now I can just...
I got into the weeds.
I can back out.
Into the weeds.
Like, this is a great excuse to back up and, like, let's try it again.
So, Poison Ivy, did Harley Quinn come out? Poison Ivy for sure, and Wonder Woman came out. I haven't read those yet. But
I've not read
like so far, all the ones I read, I really, really enjoyed.
I'm feeling it. And it is okay, look. It is
I think Superman also came out.
Superman is out.
And
yeah.
I really liked that one.
It's a little schlocky and a little feel good, but I kind of need it because this like absolute power and the nightmare thing that happened before it, and like the last 3 events have been pretty dark and ridiculous. And
I did like how in the All In special they addressed those events. They were like, we've had a really shitty time of it,
right? And like, there's something
you can think about that on multiple levels.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's a meta statement going on there. Going, okay, we got a little far away from what we do at DC.
I mean, look, Dark Crisis was good, but
it was, but like we got a little far away from what we do at DC and what you guys love about DC, and maybe there's a lot of this going on at Marvel as well at the same time, but I think we almost expect more of it from Marvel, where Marvel is kind of a fundamentally like maybe darker place, and the heroes like the X-Men, they're always on the run and shit like that. The Justice League shouldn't be getting kicked around. They shouldn't. The Justice League should be whipping ass, taking names, and people can sneak around, and foil them here and there, but like they're the Justice League. Come on. And all we've seen is Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman getting their butts kicked for like 3 years now.
The All In special officially introduces the Justice League Unlimited. And so it is exactly the cartoon.
Yeah.
Like down to like Young Justice having boom tubes to get them to and from. It's like, this is Justice League Unlimited, the Bruce Timm, Paul Dini cartoon.
Love it.
And it's like every hero you can think of as a member of the Justice League. They all live in the same clubhouse. It's fucking rad. And of course, it goes wrong like on day one because it has to.
Yeah.
But the way, so here's a little gang hang tease for my review or our review of the All In special. You read the good guy side first, or I did at least. I think that's what they expect you to do.
I would think so. We were in America,
the hero side first.
Way.
and you get to the end and you're like, that's it. That was like Darkseid's big plan. And then you read the flip book part, and then you see the entire thing from Darkseid's perspective, and you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
He was having a completely different experience than everybody else involved.
Yes.
And so like the way, like, I think it was really well done. Brian said in the Discord, in the new comics channel, that it was quote unquote a lot, and he is right.
It's a lot,
but in a very good way.
Yeah.
So yeah, DC All In special review coming this Wednesday or Thursday.
All In is fun though. I'm on board.
It's good. I'm enjoying the books very much.
Yeah, and now like all the solicits with everybody freaking out kind of makes sense now. And now I kind of believe maybe they were excited, not they were just forced to be excited. Yeah. You know.
Well, and you know, like I'm seeing things online like the writers of the books of the Absolute books were able to like hand out copies to their peers.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, I want you to read this. And so like Kelly Thompson gave a bunch of pros copies of Absolute Wonder Woman #1, you know, and a lot of them have read Absolute Batman #1 as well.
When you say it like that, all I hear is prostitutes. That's all I hear.
Yeah. Pros, right?
Just gave a bunch of prostitutes. And, what do you think?
The people are gushing about Absolute Wonder Woman. Gushing. So I can't wait.
Explain where she gets the tattoo and the Final Fantasy sword?
Probably.
Yeah, I assume so.
I'm sure they will.
That this is going to start with day one, like their origins, their universe and stuff.
Oh, so. And also very interesting to see. At least in this All In special only gives us little teases of the first three characters. Mm-hmm. But seeing some of the things that are different about their origins, some of them small, some of them very, very large indeed. And I'm not going to say anything more than that, but I was surprised and very kind of excited at the potential.
They do show Wonder Woman eat her horse, and that's why it's a skeleton. So
you
I was
do
like,
see
wow,
Absolute
she ate the
Batman's
whole thing?
Enormous hog. It's like,
I mean, he's an enormous man. So
he's an enormous man.
An enormous hog for an enormous man.
Yeah, you know, like we were talking about Andre the Giant earlier. What do you think's down there? Come on.
We only thought those were whips.
Yeah, you know, it's bigger than a baby's arm. That's
all right. It's 12:03. This is a good place to stop, I think. Good gang hang.
I think we should stop before it becomes actionable.
Yeah.
We don't want to get any left.
No. Good gang hang.
If Frank's on the call, I do want to say that I did finally pull the trigger, and I'm about 10 episodes into Star Trek Discovery. So
it's great.
I finally hopped on.
It is great. It's good time.
Star Trek Discovery, I will admit fully that Star Trek Discovery Season 1 is good. Star Trek Discovery Season 2 is great.
Yeah.
Like legitimately great.
Then once they get their legs under them, they figure it out.
And and it's no coincidence that that's when they introduced sexy Anson Mount, Captain Pike, and his magnificent hair. So,
all right, you guys feel free to hang. I got to peel, so I got a wife yelling at me. So I got to go. Keep talking.